Good evening, great evening. I hope everyone is having an awesome evening. I figured I would stop in and do a blackout type of demonstration, man, because I haven't in a while. And at the same time, this number 144 is like really like, it's like stepping on my brain right now. It's stepping on me. It's got big feet. It's really stepping on me. So, and these are just random thoughts that I'm piecing together. It's real time. You're hearing it as I think it. So the number 144, which is a number they say of the chosen, right? So I thought about that and I was like, the number 144, right? So I'm pretty sure it's a perfect square. It's a number that could be squared perfectly because 4 plus 4 plus 1 equals 9. 9 being a cardinal number, right? So you're like, where am I going with all this? So you look at a number, if it's perfectly squared, a perfect square is actually a circle. A circle is a circumference. A circle is a cipher, right? A cipher is a womb. So you could look at the womb as being a perfect square or being the circle of perfection, right? So every one of us is chosen because we came through that circle of perfection, that portal of perfection. We were perfectly squared and right when we were set in motion on this path. And then I look at that number again, 144, right? I looked at 144 hours is 6 days, right? This is how my mind works. Now, it speaks of in the Bible, and people will probably look at me like, well, you speak of the Bible a lot to not have a religion. But to be honest, the Bible is one of the biggest books of occult knowledge that if you look at it in a non-objectifying way and with a different set of eyes, it is a very, very, very powerful book. Really, to be honest, all the Abrahamic religions and all books, there are examples and there are, what would you call it, instructions on how to spell cast and of witnessing of people using occult knowledge throughout the times. So that's why I mention that a lot. So 6 days. So, they said God made everything, and then on the seventh day he rested. So I was like, man, this is really starting to get kind of, it's starting to kind of jump on my neck a little bit. So I'm like, okay, made perfect, came out the womb perfect, set on the square. I'm like, but okay. So 144 hours is 6 days. So on the seventh day, he rested. So everything was made in perfection. So you mean to tell me that we come into this existence with everything we need, everything already set before us with perfection, but we take in all the influences that are around us and we either forget or we forego the knowledge that we have inherently been brought here with, because 9 times out of 10 is from a different lifetime. Now, this is not somewhere, I'm not in teacher mode, not in professor mode, nothing. I'm just really just spilling my thoughts out, just spilling my thoughts out, right? And so I was like, man, what stops us in those middle years, those wonder years, because you come out, if you talk to a baby, these children have so much wisdom. They have so much wisdom. And they'll tell you some stuff about you and read you. They will tell you your business and tell you in a matter-of-fact way, no sugarcoating, just cut and dry. But it's the truth. So at what point did we forego that truth and that inherent perfection, individual perfection? When did we forego that to want to make other people comfortable? And to also want to fit into a slot, the status quo that may not be made for us. And I think about that. It may be familial, it may be situational, it may be economical, it may be environmental. All those things can shift your perception and shift who you are and what you are, and ultimately can shape the becoming of who you are, right? But I believe that your experiences, let me see how to say this. I don't want to say this to y'all and drag the shit out of me. Your experience is like who you are. I could lock you away in a cage, right? For the rest of your life. Does that negate everything that you've been through? Does that take every lesson you learned away? No. The sum of a man's part is greater than his whole. I hope I said that right. So it's like what you've been through, what you've experienced, what you've gleaned throughout all this whole reality is greater than anything that you will ever hold on to. Because these are lessons that we're learning and we're living. We're living and learning, learning and living, learning and living. And I think at some point, like in those middle wonder years, it's like you can get caught up in just the living and learning and not retaining aspect of it. Because I say this all the time. You could show up, you got perfect attendance, and it still doesn't mean that you're going to win. You can go to school for 12 years and not learn a damn thing, but how to sit down and remember some things. And all this came about because it's like, you know, we as we're in those wonder years, you have influences on you. You know, act a certain way, be a certain way. Should I be a certain way? How should I feel? Should I feel this way about this? We all, you know, there's causes. You want to get behind a cause. You want to feel like you're making the earth move. You want to feel like you're making a difference. And I think it's like the same metaphorically, like if you were to plant a plant and put it in too big of a pot, like you could drown the roots in the biosphere, in their root sphere. You could drown, the roots could drown in so much space. That's what I've heard. If I'm wrong, then correct me. So there's a such thing as being overstimulated or inundated. Inundated, is that the word? Inundated with information? So I say all that to say this, and I fast forward to now. So we're living in a time now where information is coming quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. And it's harder to weed through what is propaganda and what is not. And the only way you can weed through what really truly is propaganda and what is not, it's not by what the status quo says. It's by what your moral compass believes. And your moral compass is shaped and fashioned by how you were raised and somewhat the experiences that you have gone through. So you say like, well, what the hell is all this got to do with perfection, right? With this perfect number, this perfect square. A perfect square is a 90-degree angles, right? The same thing is with a circle, 90-degree angles, right? No matter how you look at it, square, circle, they're two totally different geometrical shapes. But do you think that these two geometrical shapes are fighting each other to gain ownership of this perfection? No. They realize that, okay, hey, you know what? I'm a square. I'm going to stay a square. You're a circle. You're going to be a circle. So guess what? You're going to be that version of perfection. I am this version of perfection. It doesn't take away from the whole aspect and foundation of perfection just because it doesn't look like your perfection. And I think this is part of the problem with what we have today. Everyone wants their perfect to look like someone else's perfect, and it's never going to match. It's never going to match. My perfect will never be your perfect. And to be totally honest, there is no perfect. My best is not going to be your better, if that's grammatically correct or sentence structurally, whatever. To be able to look at someone else and see perfection in just that person. And when I say perfection, please don't take it into context like without blemish or without flaw. No, I mean perfection, like that person is shining through all their insecurities. They are living through everything that they have been through. They are moving and striving, and they have found the original version of who they are, because that is perfection through imperfection. Through your imperfections, you have found out how perfect you are, because there's only one you, right? So you'll be like, damn, but there's two versions of that perfectness, that 360, that square and that circle. But are you not two beings? Are you not really more than two beings? But as above, so below. Do you think your higher self looks like you? I don't know. I don't know. But the question differs. We don't look like nature. Do you look like a tree? But yet you are a tree. Do you look like a mountain, but yet you are a mountain? Do you look like the wind, but yet you are the wind? So what I'm trying to say is these two things that have the total same function, they look totally different. Same functions looking different. I think that if we can look at everything, and don't look in the difference in structure, don't look at the difference of speech or shape or color or size. We just look at the core of the being. Hey man, your perfect is your perfect. Your good is your good. If that's what you're happy with, you're happy with. But your good doesn't make me better. My best makes me better. You know? My happiness is based on my own accomplishments. And just because I'm a circle doesn't mean I'm better than a square. And just because you're a square doesn't mean you're better than me because I'm a circle. We all come from the same foundation. And I'm just rattling on, I'm just babbling, but you tend to get like this when you have no one to talk to. You got a lot of thoughts, and it's crazy because like I write a lot, but to be honest, I write so much I get cramps in my hands, and then I type, and so many random ideas and thoughts. Man. But hey, they say it's lonely at the top, right? Let's talk about that as well. It's lonely at the top. Why does it have to be lonely at the top? Is alone the same thing as lonely? Is it? Question. Is alone the same thing as being lonely? I beg to differ. I don't think it is. But they say it's lonely at the top. Now, let me ask you a question. Do we pre-program ourselves by some of the things that we say, some of the sayings that we have grew up on? It's lonely at the top. Why can't we say it's fucking awesome at the top? It's enough room at the top for everybody. Because guess what? My top is not your top. Your expected greatness has nothing to do with my expected greatness. You understand? My mountain is my mountain. I'm climbing my mountain. Your mountain is your mountain. Your shit may stretch all the way up to, wait, you might look at Jack Beanstalk in the face, man, while you climbing. And my mountain may only be an anthill to you, but to me it's colossal because I own my mountain. I own my path. I own my journey. Yeah. Try it. Let's try that for a while. Let's start turning the way we see things around. You know, I had a guy I used to hang out with, man. And I used to, because that's the saying, I used to be like, yo, that's crazy. And crazy is a very dismissive term. To call something crazy is to dismiss it from all validity. If you think about that. To call someone crazy is very dismissive and harmful because you are dismissing them from all validity. You are removing all validity from that being, be it speech, thought, movement. You have just taken that, right? And the more we move into being more conscious with our speech because we are spelling, casting spells, the more we move into being more conscious with our speech, we are programming ourselves. And not only programming ourselves, we are acting as our higher self when we are conscious with our thoughts and conscious with what we speak. And we are going before ourselves because our words are fashioning the road. And it stays open by what we think and what we say. Because ultimately, what you think is what you do. And what you believe will always come out your mouth at some point or another. I could be here all night, man, but I'm not. Just some quick thoughts. Just some thoughts. Chime in, tap in. Good comment. And let me tell you something. There's no such thing as a bad comment to me. It really isn't. I'm not emotionally disturbed by what, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Hey, you know what I mean? I didn't used to like Brussels sprouts until I got older. Now I freaking love them. Okay? So, hey, this might be your Brussels sprout moment. It might trigger you. You might get a bad taste in your mouth. But then as you grow a little bit spiritually, you might say, you know what? I freaking like them Brussels sprouts. They're okay if you do them a certain way, but they're good to me. So maybe this is your Brussels. This is your Brussels sprout moment. So before you turn your little eyes up and turn your nose up and you already twist your mouth and say, I don't want any because it doesn't look good, it doesn't smell good. Think about that. Perception is key. Again, the circle and the square. What if we were sat in a room, we were beginning to be made in this existence and said, do you want to be a circle or do you want to be a square? Can you imagine a mind fuck on that? We all thought we're being something different in individuals, but really we're all the same. Water comes from the clouds, lands on the earth, runs to the rivers, and flies back to the heavens, just as we do spiritually. We come from far away. We run to the ground, and then we fly back. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'll make a sandwich. All right, I'm out of here, man. Y'all have an awesome one.